Hey friends, I'm hoping this works. I'm using some different technology today because I want to be able to share my screen with you and give you an overview of what the 6 stages of faith are. And so I'm going to jump straight in and share the screen that I want to. This is basically an overview of things that we're going to be covering at our Telios Life Academy starting on Wednesday night, the 6th, so in a couple of nights' time at around this time if you're watching me live now. And it's 6 p.m. Brisbane time, 7 p.m. Melbourne time. So let's just get straight into it. And if you're interested, you're always free to join us over the next couple of weeks. Basically, this teaching was created out of a book called The Critical Journey. You can find it on Amazon there, and it's a book based on spiritual formation. I'm going to give you a quick overview on what these stages are. The first stage that we fall into in our faith journey and in our walk is the recognition of God, and this is where we're wowed by God and we're captivated by Him. We then hopefully move to this life of discipleship. We get involved in a church. We are involved in a community. We start to read our Bible. We learn. A whole lot of really important stuff happens here in this life of discipleship. And we may be here really spend a lot of time here for maybe 5, 10 odd years. And then eventually we think, we can't just be learning about who Jesus is. We need to serve like Him as well. So again, we serve, we ask good questions, we get involved, we see what our strengths are, and this is called the productive life. And you may spend about 20 years in this cycle before you move to the inward journey, where your brain explodes, your heart breaks, you start investigating things, you ask questions, all the certainty you learned in the first few stages is gone. Some people call this the dark night of the soul, and it's often combined with something they call the wall. And this can be a long journey. This can be a deconstructive time, a time with questions, a lot of people may even walk away from their faith, but a really, really important time to move through, where you get to rediscover who God is, who you are, and you eventually learn how to serve your world in a different way. And you're not working from your strengths, you're working from your weaknesses. You're working from a point in your life where you really know that it's not by your strength like it was in stage 3, but it is by a work of the Spirit, because through the inward journey you've discovered you're not that crash hot, and it's a necessary sort of desert season for you to go through, so you live the journey outward in stage 5. And this can go for years and years and decades, and maybe you might reach a life of love, of eldership, of maturity, of absolute and total surrender to who God is. Here's what's interesting. We call the first 3 stages of the critical journey the outer stages, and we call the other stages the inner stages. Okay, and so what happens is, in these first 3 stages, it's often where most of the church is concentrated. It's where we are learning to do the important stuff. It's prescriptive, and I could write out, and people have written programs to make this work really well. The thing is, the last stages, the inner stages, there's no prescription, there's no description. It is individual, it's you, and it's necessary for a deeper and more intimate relationship with God. So that is an overview of things we're going to cover over the teaching at the Telios Academy, the life stages, the stages of faith for 2 weeks, the 6th and the 13th. If you can't join us live, you can do so by recording. But I promise you, I've taught this quite a number of times over the last couple of years, and it has made such a profound difference in so many people's lives. And I think it'll really bless you too, especially if you're some of those people watching who have or are headed into that stage 4 where you've served and you've learned, and not that you lose that, not that you ever leave being a disciple. All these stages are accumulative and fluid, etc., but you're just in this place where things are not as they used to be, and you're asking big questions, and you feel alone, and God is presenting Himself as somebody very different to the God that you knew in the city, to the God that you knew in the busy time with everyone else. When we enter these desert seasons and years, God becomes very different. But there are answers, there are things that we can expect, there are ways that we can get stuck and unstuck, and it would be Natalie and I's privilege to walk you through and teach you those things. So It's very simple to register. Go to teleosacademy.com. I will put the link in the description. I really hope to see you there. Register your seat. If you can't join us live because of commitments or time zone different, as long as you register, we'll give you the password to access the recordings. We have a suggested donation for the class, but it's a donation-based teaching and class anyway. It's interactive, it's by webcam, you'll have discussion groups, small groups that you can be part of, worksheets that you can use. I'm sure that you'll get a lot out of it. If you have a friend you think needs to do this, tag them in the comments below. Please do like and share this. It would make a huge difference for us. Hope to see some of you live Wednesday night, the 6th of February. Shalom.